Every family has a story, every story has a past, but some stories slip quietly into the shadows of time. Today, we're bringing one of those stories back into the light. The life of Joseph Nickell, a frontier guide, a soldier, a father, and a settler whose journey helped shape the early American wilderness. His name may not appear in any textbooks, but his legacy carved its place into the heart of our history. Hello, y'all. My name is Jake, and welcome to Echoes of Us. Let's step back into the rugged world of the 1700s and uncover the life of a man whose story deserves to be remembered. Joseph Nickell was born on January 10, 1750. He was the third son of John and Mary Nickell. His father, John Nickell, had immigrated from Ireland sometime in the 1730s. Like his father, not much is known about Joseph's early childhood. He likely spent his formative years hunting, fishing, farming, and exploring the surrounding frontier as he grew up. This early exploration of the neighboring lands would serve him well in the years to come. Joseph eventually settled on a farm along the second creek of the Greenbrier River. His brothers, Thomas and Isaac, were established nearby in what is now Monroe County, West Virginia. In 1774, the Battle of Point Pleasant occurred, and Joseph served in James Henderson's company of militia from Greenbrier, Augusta County, Virginia. Acting as guide alongside his brothers, he served a total of 116 days. To understand the significance of the Battle of Point Pleasant, we must first look at the events that led up to it. Earlier that year, two major incidents took place: the Pipe Creek attack and the Yellow Creek massacre. The Yellow Creek massacre became the final breaking point for the Mingo and their Shawnee allies. Settlers, led by Daniel Greathouse, attacked and killed relatives of the Mingo leader Logan. Up until that time, Logan had expressed a desire for peaceful coexistence with the settlers, but after receiving news of the massacre, he felt he had no option but to go on the warpath. Settlers along the frontier feared that these killings would provoke the remaining Indian nations of the Ohio country, and soon those fears would become reality. Logan, along with small parties of his Mingo warriors and their Shawnee allies, began striking at frontier settlements in revenge for the deaths of Logan's kinsmen at Yellow Creek Massacre. In May of 1774, Lord Dunmore received word of the fighting that had begun at Yellow Creek and other points along the Ohio River. He ordered the organization of a border militia. Andrew Lewis, a veteran of the French and Indian Wars, was appointed to be the leader of the Virginia militia. With his forces raised, Dunmore decided to split his command into two groups. One, consisting of 1,700 men under his direct command, would move down the Ohio River from Fort Pitt, formerly Fort Duquesne, while the other, consisting of 800 men under Andrew Lewis, would march from Camp Union. The two forces planned to rendezvous at the mouth of the Kanawha River. The force under Lewis grew to 1,100 men before leaving Camp Union. They traveled to the headwaters of the Kanawha River, then turned south toward the appointed rendezvous point. They reached the mouth of the Kanawha on October 6th, where they established Camp Pleasant. Finding no sign of Dunmore's column, Lewis sent messengers up the Ohio to notify him of their arrival. 3 days later, on October 9th, Dunmore sent a dispatch announcing that he was at the mouth of the Hocking River and would proceed to the Shawnee villages on the Scioto River. He ordered Lewis to cross the Ohio and meet him there. Before Lewis and his men, Joseph among them, could begin crossing the river, they were attacked on the morning of October 10th by a force of Mingo and Shawnee warriors, led by Chief Cornstalk. Cornstalk's force, estimated to be between 300 and 500 warriors, opened fire on the camp, attempting to trap the militia along the bluff that bordered the river. The battle raged for hours and eventually turned into brutal hand-to-hand combat. Over the din of battle, Cornstalk was repeatedly heard urging his men to be strong. Lewis responded by sending several companies along the Kanawha River and nearby creek to flank the attacking warriors. This maneuver reduced the intensity of the assault, forcing Cornstalk to order a retreat. By nightfall, the warriors withdrew quietly from the field and crossed back over the Ohio River. Lewis's forces suffered a loss of 75 men with another 140 wounded. The losses sustained by Cornstalk's warriors could not be accurately verified, which was common for native forces at the time. However, the following morning, as reinforcements arrived, the militia surveyed the battlefield and found 21 warriors on the field and 12 more hastily covered with brush. Among the dead was Pucksinwah, the father of Tecumseh. After the battle, Cornstalk was forced to sue for peace. The resulting Treaty of Camp Charlotte ceded all Shawnee claims to land south of the Ohio River to Virginia, required the return of all white captives, and demanded an end to attacks on settlers traveling down the Ohio River. While it is not clear what specific role Joseph played during the battle beyond serving as a guide, we know that he and his brothers survived the conflict and continued their service as border guards in the militia during the Revolutionary War. In 1776, Joseph married Elizabeth Fowler, and together they had 7 children: John, Isaac, Big Joseph, Elizabeth, Lucinda, James, and Mary. In 1788, Joseph decided to sell his farm and move west into Kentucky with several related families. In 1789, they were prevented from crossing the Kentucky River due to high waters and spent 3 years on Tate Creek in Madison County, Kentucky. Sometime in 1792, Joseph purchased a farm on the West Fork of Stoner Creek in Clark County, Kentucky. Joseph Nickell died June 16, 1829, at the age of 79. His life, marked by a frontier childhood, militia service, and the challenges of pioneering westward, reflected the broader experience of many early American settlers. This was another story brought out of the shadows and back into the light. There are so many more lives, stories, and echoes waiting to be rediscovered. Guys, if you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you all for stopping by. Until next time.